What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the right side of the map in the red color, playing as Set. His name is HellsRavage. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Hades. His name is Suppe. Suppe Meister, the Suppe Meister himself. All right, map is Tundra. This is one of my more... This is a matchup that I'm very, very interested in, for several reasons. So, the big reason is that Hades is a timing attack civilization's worst nightmare, because Hades gets essentially free masons, right? You get the extra 15 building HP. This is an extra 25% building HP, but also masons give yourself crush vulnerability and hack vulnerability. So technically it's roughly exactly the same amount of bonus. So you get a free masons. So that already makes timing attacks a little bit harder. Beyond that, you also get sentinels. You also get restoration. You also get free shades for fighting. So all of these things end up making timing attacks very, very difficult. Then you go over here and you take a look at what Set is. Set is a timing attack monster. This is the strongest timing attack civilization in the game. You get access to 0 walking time hunt through your pharaoh. You get access to shifting sands and vision, which means you can attack anywhere on the map at precisely the point that you want to attack on the map. And then finally you get access to very, very strong heroic age god power, very, very strong mythic age god power, very, very strong. I mean, we already talked about shifting sands and vision, but you get access to all of these really, really strong attack things. The problem is that, well, not the problem, but the weakness of Set is that if this doesn't work, then your late game ability is very, very weak. You get, I guess you probably have slightly worse economy, or yeah, you get a lot worse economy than Isis and Ra, because they both get their own bonuses to economy in population or like priest empowerment plus upgrades that come through in the way of Osiris or Bast even. Those things can be really, really helpful. So Set's going to have a little bit of problems where that's concerned in the late game. And then beyond that, no access to Osiris means that those big myth units are going to be really tough. So Set's win condition effectively against every single big late game civilization is to beat them before they get to the late game. And that's why the timing attacks are here. And to take that into all account, Hades is one of the strongest late game civs. And we do see Suppe with a rare housing crisis. He's been watching some Chrono JJ gameplay, and that's a tough thing. I do have a message in the chat that says, "What's a timing attack?" Well, effectively, a timing attack is an attack which you set up an army and technology advantage on your opponent in order to kill them. So, an army and or a technology improvement over what your opponent has. So an example could be you make yourself a 115 population Isis army as fast as you possibly can, and you use Ancestors Eclipse with that army to attack your opponent before they're ready to defend it. That would be an example of a timing attack. And we are seeing Tar coming now through for our main man, HellsRavage. He's got no monuments down just yet. This is makes me a little bit sad when we see that, because we know that Set can get 2 monument 430 advance times, and it's really, really important. So one day, if I say it enough, one day Hells is going to start trying to do it. All right, Athena coming through right now for Suppe, 50% of the way through. No surprises there. Athena very, very strong and very, very good. Relics on the map. We've got ourselves the nose of the Sphinx, an extra 15% building hit points. This is like getting Masons all over again. So Hades can have 3 Masons here in this game, essentially. Up here, we've got the blanket of Empress Zoe. This is like getting 4 Masons. Well, a pure 3 Masons, I guess. The blanket of Empress Zoe plus the nose of the Sphinx is 1 Mason's in its purest form. So, good luck. Good luck. As we see an early shifting sands coming in here as Suppe is gonna have to be forced to use his restoration to make sure he doesn't lose any villagers here. This is a very, very strong usage of the shifting sands god power. And guess what? No pharaoh was brought in this attack. No villager was killed, but restoration is gone now. So that's a big, big help there for Hells. Suppe's going to be a little bit upset about that. We will be seeing this Minotaur going down, though he will almost pick off the Auroch, but the Auroch's going to survive. The micro comes in at the last moment there by HellsRavage. Nice play, and Hells should probably be able to retreat back. Meanwhile, we see this town center coming up. We do already have the Ajax out, so these animals not going to be too strong, too easy to take these out, and the town center over here will be coming up. Meanwhile, the priest is going to continue getting his Aurochs over on this position. And the big question is, was that 100% worth it or not? Suppe hurting just a little bit. He's in his base now eating herdables for some reason. He does have 2 Aurochs in his base, so he could be eating those, but that's all he's got. Meanwhile, we see the villagers coming over here, going to be eating their Auroch in the corner. A little bit of a weird one there. We see a barracks coming down here by Mr. HellsRavage, wanting to make himself some classical units to get some raids in here. This is something we see quite a bit from Hells. He loves that kind of spearman raiding esque thing for Set to give him a little bit of advantage. He does slow down any sort of advantage in the timing factor, but putting on that pressure can be really, really important in order to make your big attacks when they end up happening a little bit more effective, or whichever. As Suppe here, he's got his 2 town centers up. Did we see that relic getting grabbed by Suppe? No, it was grabbed by Hells, it seems. As no, someone's got it. Someone's got the relic. Am I blind? Apparently. Nope, wait, where is it? I don't know, it's gone. Okay, it's just gone. No one cares anymore. Fine. Anyways, we see the Chiron searching for some raids here. We'll be able to take out these Arctic wolves over here. As where's the Ajax gone is the other question. Oh, random villager getting taken out by some wolves. The wolves are very, very unhappy here, it seems, as also sentinels getting dropped by Suppe. As we see slingers and spearmen, the units of choice here for HellsRavage. Now, if you kind of understand a little bit about how macro works in Age mythology, you need roughly 4 to 5 villages on food per town center to build 1 single spearman from your barracks. You need about 8 villages on food. So in order to afford 2 town centers and 1 spearman, you kind of need like 15 to 18 villages on food, depending on what sort of food source you have. Otherwise, you're going to get things like 0% in your town centers. As now we see Suppe getting himself the Nose of the Sphinx. And he's also got himself that built blanket of Emperor's. So look at the HP, 3,920 without any upgrades, and the crush arm is at 14%. That's just bonkers, absolutely bonkers. There's now, well, I guess Hells is searching around. We see these obelisks coming up. These are actually a very, very underutilized aspect of the Egyptian arsenal. It's these obelisks getting thrown down a little bit later in the game, giving good line of sight all over the map. We see these over here. The spearmen are going to find some villagers on this position. Meanwhile, 3 spearmen over onto the back corner of the map as Suppe has been found, though the villagers will turn around, start shanking just a little bit. Well, 1 villager might go down here as the spearmen trying to retreat away and keeping themselves alive. This low HP villager here, 2 HP here, the Ajax coming in. Meanwhile, these units are going to move in and try and take out their villagers over here, most likely, as another spearman does end up going down. The Ajax does manage to take down 1 spearman as the rest do have to retreat away here. As Hells, he's got his armory up, more villagers coming out onto the herdables here, upgrades here. He still doesn't have himself pickaxe or husbandry, but pickaxe is coming in, it would seem. There's now some units coming in onto this position. We do have some Toxotes here. Those are free kills here for the Slingers. Nice micro there from Suppe. You can see him speed walking just a little bit to get back here as the Spearmen going to be coming in onto those villagers over here. The Slingers trying to take out the Toxotes as best as they can, as these villagers are going to be hurting quite a bit here as another Toxote falling on this position. The Spearmen taking out the villagers incredibly efficiently here as those Slingers, all they need to do is make sure they're targeting down the Toxotes. Nice micro to run them away from the villagers, though, as some Hades shades coming in, though, as the unit losses starting to come through. These shades will turn the tides of this battle very, very nicely. But the problem here for Soup is he's running out of resources, and he might need to start farming here, as if he's pushed off this hunt, he does have the Auroch in the back corner still. He's got the Aurochs over here as well that he can eat, which he's going to be looking to grab now. The Toxotes moving forward. These Slingers going to be able to go to town on the Toxotes here. As we see, Hells has been playing a little bit of Age of Empires 4 there with this Slinger kind of micro. You actually can't animation cancel the end animation of archers. So attack and then move and then attack and move. Orb walking, if you're used to the League of Legends term, doesn't actually work in Age of Mythology. Though if your opponent doesn't retreat at all, it's just like you would move in and start attacking regardless, if that makes any sense whatsoever. As we do see a handful of spearmen coming back over here onto this location. Again, Suppe is too good at the game. He's too aware of what's going on. Consistently going to be reacting to those sorts of raids beautifully there. And Hells loses out on 2 spearmen for very, very low cost there. As Nephthys now coming through, though. So big timings do have a big potential here. We'll see what Hells is going to try and do. He's got a lot of gold in the bank, so he can drop that immediate Migdol, start making himself some chariot archers here. He might also want to just continue to go spearmen, slingers, and make himself immediately in onto the siege towers. He could think about getting feral and start making crocodiles out of the pharaoh as another way to bolster your army right on the battlefield. As we see these medium spearmen getting taken down yet again here, as Soup is continuing to motor ahead. He's starting to get himself those stables out. As Nephthys comes through, you do have to be aware that the big weakness here for the Greek army is the chariot archer. How do you deal with the chariot archer? Normally you need to make yourself some Hippocon. As we see, the Migdol Stronghold here has been spotted. The Slinger's kind of out of position here as the Spearman going to come forward to try and snipe these units down, as the Villagers are going to try and jump onto these Elks. But with the Migdol Stronghold coming out, the Pharaoh does get sniped there nicely, but it doesn't look like there's enough units here to stop this Migdol Stronghold, as the Spearmen do clean up those Hippocon. The Slingers will clean up those Toxotes, and the Migdol comes up, and Hells has got a significant foothold on this location here, as the villagers are moving back home to their home base. Double siege works going to be getting dropped here. If we take a good look at HellsRavage's economy, we see the market getting dropped. We see the chariot archers not yet getting trained. There they are. Chariot archers going to be getting trained. The siege works up, and that's going to be this town center looking very, very weak and bare here, as Soup's got no god powers. He's got very, very little economy here. His gold mine still has plenty of gold left in it with 1,000 gold, but he's definitely got some issues on that front there, as the Hippocon going to be looking for some raids over on this position, as it looks like the Aurochs were getting eaten, and the villagers retreat nicely here to get away without too much of an issue there. So nice play where that's concerned, as now the siege works are up and still not producing anything from it, but maybe there's going to be an attempt to get to the Mythic Age and hit some sort of tornado timing. Remember, we do have all of those relics though, so the town center will not die to a tornado here, as the villagers going to get kind of taken down there. Not really. The chariot archers retreating back. Now we see slingers moving through over here, maybe going to take down some villagers as well. With the advent of these Hippocon getting added into the army, you got to be a little bit careful about going pure archers, because these are going to get some good damage done. Now, the problem is that unupgraded mass chariot archers will be able to defeat the Hippocons, so you do have to kind of get those upgrades in as well, as Soup is still trying to take these fights a little bit underpopulated, so maybe not going to be going for that. And it looks like a little bit of a disappointing tap out here from Soup. I feel like he was just not in it in this game. He's taking too many bad fights and giving Hells too much of an advantage here. There's definitely a way that he could have potentially brought his way back into this game. The problem is definitely going to be gold and defending an ancestor push here, but he does have this gold mine over here that he can grab. Whole bunch of buildings being dropped here, but Soup sorry, excuse me, but Hells did play this one nicely, putting good pressure onto his opponent, showing a way forward for the set players here. Generally speaking, if you play very, very defensive with Egyptian, your opponent can set up walls and it can be really, really oppressive. If you go for the classical fight, you prevent those walls from coming up, and it can be a really, really good way to play. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.